we're going to briefly start my part off once everyone kind of gets seated and situated. So as we're kind of jumping back into this, again, my name is Miguel Camargo. I'm the founder of FLOW, which stands for Future Leaders of the World. Our organization and our movement process is to truly bring entrepreneurs together, find a way to not only equip you with the right mindset, skill sets to make money, but leave here with the right community. You say, hey, listen, I found someone that I can go into business with and I can make some money. Because everyone here, raise your hand if you want to make some money. This thing ain't all about kumbaya, rah-rah stuff. This is a thing, how do we equip ourselves to make an extra income? So my story is this. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. I'm one of 10. My family's Mexican-American. Came to this country, my dad came to this country illegally, just like every Hispanic stereotypical thing, over the border, came here with a third-grade education, and built an incredible concrete company in Atlanta. And everyone knows here during the last recession in 2008, lost it all. And at that time, I was 17, and I was seeing my dad go through it financially. But one thing I saw him do, he would come home and he was reading books. And one thing my dad told me, he was working with a network marketing company here, and he would go to these conferences out here in Jacksonville. At the time, I was working in hospitality, and I remember sitting with him in between the breaks of his conference, and he says, Miguel, you need to find a business that you can work, that you can make money without having to show up. And I said, yeah, I understand, I got it, but I don't want to do your business. And shortly after working in hotels, I got approached with the financial services industry. And when I started off in the financial services industry was just to make some extra money to be a songwriter. I wanted to be like Neo. I wanted to be able to write R&B songs, sell the music, and eventually get paid from it. Because I did know the value of passive residual income is you do something once, and it's on rinse and repeat, and you can continue to get paid from it. So when I got started in the financial services industry, I was very outgoing like I am now, but inside I was very insecure. I couldn't look you in your eye when people said, hey, listen, when it comes to meeting people, I didn't have a market. So my leaders in my business said, well, you better go meet people. I said, where do you do that? Out there, out in the world. So eventually what happened is I would go up to strangers and I would ask questions. I was very curious about what people do. And I love people. So my story is this. I got into the business of really prospecting is what we call it in the financial services industry. You're looking for your new teammates. You're looking for your new clients, right? We're all in sales, right? If you're in business, you're in sales. You're looking for your next client. But I didn't feel comfortable being that salesperson walking up to someone with an alternative motive. If I was going to start a conversation, how do I turn that into a relationship? Well, guess what? It took hundreds of conversations, hundreds of awkward facial things, and being able to say hello to you and not even pitch you what I did, and just rinse and repeat, learn. And I'm going to kind of dive into 3 separate stories today. Is in 2011, I'm inside of a store called Ross. Anybody here ever study a store, been in a store called Ross? Well, I'm in Ross doing what I normally do. I'm looking for people. I'm listening. And I hear a conversation, and it's talking that entrepreneur stuff. And I'm like, what is that? Who is that? And I go to the next aisle. I wait for this amazing lady to get off the phone. And I just said, hey, I don't know what you do. You just got amazing energy. I just got to say hello. That was 10 years ago, 2011, 2012. That was actually Coach J. Diane. How crazy is that? We met, and in 2015, she was doing an event. She did these at-the-table events, and she invited me to be on the panel. And I remember being there. I was like, this is my first engagement. I was like, I'm going to talk to people, and felt I know what I'm good at, and talking to people is what I'm good at. And I remember going there. She gave me the first opportunity to speak, and I was like, I felt so humble. And I was like, okay, my first son's here, and I'm just growing. And I had this book in me that I've been working on for years, and it's called Getting Out of Your Own Way. And the principles of it is to use godly principles to help you get out of your own thoughts and actually go be resilient, which is to be that. And I'm still writing the book today. That was one conversation. The second one is I'm inside, this is probably 2012. I'm inside of a store called Barnes & Noble. I was taught if you're going to meet people and you're going to try to find people for your business, go to places that are people like you, right? So I'm inside of Barnes & Noble, doing my thing, acting like I'm shopping for a book. I may have been actually shopping for a book that day. And I hear a conversation. I said, what is this? I hear another person talking business. And I go up to this gentleman. He's dressed up in this nice shirt and nice jeans and everything. He just carried himself well. And what happened in that conversation, I said, and I hear him, he's actually prospected somebody's stuff, right? I get his name and number, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to recruit him because it just levels to this thing. I was like, okay, I'm just going to get his contact. And in this aspect of my season of my business, I'm looking for mentorship outside of my own community. Why? Because you can't always learn from the people that you're surrounded with. You have to seek knowledge outside of your comfort zone. So I called this guy up, and I said, hey, listen, I just want to see if I can come get a few minutes with you. I don't know what I have anything to offer you. And he's sitting he says, yes, come meet me at this car wash in Jack's Beach. And I remember he had this nice BMW, those nice BMWs back in the day, and it said, I told you so on the front of it, right? And I'm sitting down with him. I walk inside, and he's on the phone call. He says, where's your notepad? Oh, snap, hold on, let me go run and grab my notepad, which is why we always say have a notepad in front of you. Yeah. And I'm just sitting there. He's on a three-way call. He's talking to people, and I'm just taking notes. And we're talking. He's telling me his story, and we're leaving this place. And he's actually prospecting this lady for her business. And she says something to him, like an objection. And he actually stopped the lady in the middle of the conversation. He says, Miguel, the reason she's saying this, you know how bold that takes to say, hey, listen, you're training person live right there? I was like, this person, okay, I'm going to keep learning. Guess what? That was Nate Scott. Years of follow-up of not intentionally, we financially don't make any money from each other, but it was the relationships we established in the very beginning of my careers. Like I told you, I started with Chauncey. We were working, again, in the marketing business. You have to, while you're building a business, you got to find a way to stay in business, right? So sometimes I had my son on the way, and all of a sudden I find myself from being a 24-year-old single guy to now you're taking care of two kids and their mom. I was like, oh, you better go do something. So I found brand ambassador work. And in these ways of God puts you in seasons of financially finding a way to keep your family supported, you find some of your greatest friends. And this event has come together because it's been gradually focusing on building off of each other's relationships. And I just want to share something with you, which is this is Chauncey back in 2017. This is back when I was actually wearing suit and ties. I think COVID kind of ruined that. And this is Nate Scott and I back in Celebration Church. This is years ago. This is Coach Jay and I at her book signing. I was trying to find the old photo of us from the. I was looking for it to put it in this slideshow. And I just want to show you the growth, guys. This is right here where Nate and we actually took a day trip down to Miami. He put me in a room full of people that, again, you feel unqualified for. You see how much skinnier I was, right? You're like, dang. Well, he was sharing with me an opportunity, although I was not ready for that opportunity, and I was very grateful for the time and energy that he put into me, because he probably didn't get any monetary benefit out of it. It probably actually cost him money to take me there. But I'll tell you, that was an event that I said, okay, someone's willing to pour into me. I must do the same thing when I meet other people. Because people are going to pour into each other. And this was an event that I got to experience with Richard and Coach Jay Diane a couple months ago, where they opened up their center. What is it called, Richard?
It's the Miriam R. Cup Innovation Center.
So they're a group of entrepreneurs. They're doing grand openings. Because we make relationships, they open up the doors for us to be a part of their community. And we don't take it for granted. We focus on building the relationships. Again, this is Chauncey and I back in 2017. This is Nate and I at another event that I did probably about a year ago. And then you make friends, and guess what? You end up being able to go to their wedding, right? This was so, look, that's when I had a chin. That's when I didn't have a double chin, right? But I was able to be a part of their life. And I made a commitment this year. Again, I'll share another story with you. In November of 2022, we are sitting, my partner and I and my clients and other business partners, Raphael and Lindsay Dabney's, we're sitting at my kids' like little kitchen table in my house, just masterminding of how do we go into 23 doing something big. Well, this is the reality of the room you're sitting in. Was we want to build a place where entrepreneurs can come together. That's not going to cost them an arm and a leg, but we're deep into the community. We're rooted into the community. That place that people can come to go meet people, which is where it's called the underground. This is what you're sitting in today. And we've come together to build a network. And this is the book that I'm working on right now. It's called Networking the Flow Way. This will be the first book I write. And I just want to share with you some common sense principles that I do on a day-to-day basis. Things that I do when I meet someone. How do I go from contact to relationship to contract to continue to get referrals in this world that we live in, right? You know, we always hear the rated R word right now in our economy is what? Recession, right? I don't believe in recessions. I believe sometimes they're contractions, but I live in what is called a God economy. See, I believe I build the community of people that I'm like-minded around. And if we work together, we'll find the individuals that need us, that want us, and that actually serve in what we're doing together, right? So the first thing is make a decision to upgrade your mindset in your circle. I cannot tell you, the reason NFL teams and NBA teams recruit every year is because you're not going to win championships with last year's team, right? That's the reason the Jaguars recruit every year, right? And that's why every year we're saying this is our year. Then we make it to the playoffs, and for 3 weeks we're like, oh, we're going, baby. And then guess what? That's life happens, right? So I made a decision. I'm only doing business with people that I can do life with. It's not I'm doing life with people I'm in business with. It's how do I continue to build my community around me where my business revolves around my life and not my life revolves around my business. Because I've done the insurance investment sales agent for years. I'm done living that way. I live authentically. Whether you like me or you don't, you're at least going to say, hey, at least Miguel's real. At least Miguel's willing to help me in this area. So I made a decision last year. I hired a business coach, which is, you've heard from some amazing speakers today. Get with someone that has the knowledge. Sometimes you got to pay to play to get in the room. But guess what? Their experiences will give you the shortcuts and shave off the time that it was going to take you to get your business to the next level. And I realized sometimes you got to barter and trade. But in most businesses, guess what you got to come up with? You got to come up with the money. And if you're expecting to grow your business, you better be willing to invest into yourself, right? And so tell your story. I love how Coach Jay was talking about. Tell your story. Everyone I meet, I tell my story. Always a different version of my story because we all have something to share. Would you agree on that? We all have an experience or a victory that we want to share with somebody. At the end of the day, nobody cares about your story until you've won. Don't tell people what you're going through. Tell people where you're going to. Because you have to sell a vision of where you're going, right? You know, the Bible says without the people, the vision will what? Well, guess what? Without the people, the vision will perish too. If you don't take the right people with you, how are you going to go? Again, I'm giving my real life experiences for the aspect of my own personal financial business. I could have been 10 times further along if I didn't hold on to the people I wanted to take with me. I wanted them to win, and then more they wanted me to win. So I live unapologetically myself today that I'm looking for the right people that are looking for me. And so sharing the story is I focus on serving and not selling. I know in sales, people want to sell. But when you have a salesperson call your phone and you ain't ready to buy, does it go straight to voicemail? Leave them on red? Well, if that's happening to you, maybe you might want to change the way you pivot, the way you're approaching these conversations. Because most of our business is build a relationship, plant seeds over time, like Coach Jay was talking about planting our pineapples, right? How long does it take for a pineapple to prosper or to?
When I plant them in August or September, in April you'll begin to see the little pineapple come up, and then August, September you'll have fruit.
So it's a year.
Yes.
So what you do today generally goes back to you don't reap in the same harvest that you sow in. As you see these amazing relationships here, where they would generally monetarily charge X amount. Through relationships, we're able to continue to give back to our communities because we're focused on and we're in alignment with the right intentions. So when you're serving and you're trying to build your sales team or your business, whatever you're offering, just focus on serving with the right mentality, and then you'll find the way to pitch your business and where you're networking. I have what is called the 3-foot rule. If I'm within 3 feet of somebody, guess what I do? I say hello. I smile. I'm always looking presentable. I'm not in 3-piece suit like I used to be all the time, but what I am in today is I'm repping what I am. I am Miguel Camargo is my social media tags, and Project 50 is is a campaign that we're running in our business. I'm always looking for people to ask me, what is that? What do you do? Because what happens is curiosity. That's what's going to get someone to talk to you. So how do you look when you're networking? Do you look the part? I always look the part. I might not be dressed like this every day, but when I'm walking into a room full of executives, suited the way I need to be. But for other casual conversations, for people that I'm trying to be around, I want to look the part. I would always tell you to make sure you show up early to events like this, because the nuggets are not always made from the stage. Guess where the nuggets are found? In the side conversations. Hey, how do you do this? What are you doing there? That's the point of networking. I started doing networking events 2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago. On the basis, I went to a big event called, there's a very big speaker called Eric Thomas. He's a motivational speaker. I invested $700 into 2 tickets to go to the event. And I'll tell you, I'm in the back of the room. You couldn't be no further in the back of the room, right? And I see these crowds. I mean, they know how to rock a crowd, right? And I just hear this message, get in the room. And I said, well, okay. Well, there's no room like that in Jacksonville. I'm going to go create that. And you're starting to see the manifestation of what's happening here, right? And as I've gone through my journey of trying to put this stuff together, I always lean on God during good times and hard times. As you guys saw that picture of Nate and I at the altar, I remember one time I was down at the altar and I'm like, God, thank you for all this momentum. Thank you for helping me build my brand. And then, bam, I heard this phrase, I heard this message from God. You will not build a brand unless you're branded by me. And when I tell you, I'm not that witty to come up with that. I just said, there's something to lean on God during this stuff. Like when I'm praying on the way here, God, fill me with your Holy Spirit. Speak through me. Don't let me be because if you know me, it ain't always holy. It's, God, use me in this circumstance. Let me help somebody in those areas. So the 3-foot rule, I'm not always networking to pitch my business. I sometimes ask you, hey, what do you need? Do you need anything? Sometimes people just need to say hello. How are you? Man, I appreciate you saying hello. Nobody acknowledged me today. So when you say the 3-foot rule, say hello to everybody. Hold the door for people. Teach your dadgum kids to say hello to people too. That taught the strangers thing, that's a lie. Unless there's people out there in white vans. Don't say hello to them. And then follow up with individuals. How do you follow up with your networking skills? I know that I've been to countless of networking events, and I get names and numbers and cards and say, who is this? How did I meet them? What did I say to them? Well, there's a skill set to that. There's an art of follow-up. If I made a decent connection with you, we're going to remember each other. I'm going to text you, hey, Gabriel, it was great meeting you over at such and such. I look forward to connecting with you on this. Be on the lookout for my call. So he knows I'm setting up the expectation to set that next meeting. It's networking with the purpose that there's a reason behind it, right? And when you're following up with individuals, you're going to get your no calls or your voicemails that no one ever returns, your read messages, your blocked numbers, the wrong numbers. Countless ways I've had people reject me. But when I pivoted from, hey, I'm just going to call you, see how you're doing, over 6 months, I've called you more than your brother has. I've called you more than your daggum siblings have. And do you think that person is going to eventually give me the time of day because I put time into them? I always say Facebook is your greatest tool. Because guess what Facebook tells you every day?
Their birthdays.
Someone's birthday, right? When you follow up with someone on their birthday, do you go directly to their wall? Or do you go to their inbox? Do you text them? Hey, do you shoot them a quick little message? Hey, just want to wish you happy birthday, such and such. I go further. I say, hey, listen, Sharonda, hey, listen, happy birthday. Do me a favor, download the Firehouse app. If you go in there, you'll get a free sub. It's on me. Is it on me? It's on Firehouse. But I'm giving them a tool. Go get lunch on me, right? But what did I just do there? I gave them a little nugget for free, such and such. Those little seeds that you plant with someone over time become something big. When you get a client, how do you follow up with them? Do you stop when they become a client? No, that's actually when the game begins. Do you give cards? I do handwritten notes to clients. If you're a client of mine, I guarantee you've received a handwritten note from me at some point. Because I want to stand out in front of everybody. In the world of technology, people miss that personal touch. Go buy yourself a bunch of stamps. And you're going to be like, I'm writing stamps. I'm going to put this on a pigeon and send this out. Yeah, it's old school. But guess what? In times of contraction, you need to go back to the old school roots. Go to your business to business. Go to your handshakes. Look at people in the eye. That's what's going to help you stand apart from everybody. Make connections with center of influences. The one thing that I didn't lack was I wasn't a center of influence at the very beginning. So 2 years ago, 2019, I'm at an insurance conference. They have a trade show. And I'm talking to all these different people that's in the room, and none of them know each other. They're just there to be a vendor and sell these insurance companies. I said, I'm going to go create a Facebook page. It's called Flow Networking of Jacksonville. And I'm going to add all my business owners to this thing. And I hope that they can connect with each other the way that I connected with them. Build a tribe. During COVID, kind of forgot about it, really didn't pay attention to it. But when I went to that conference, I said, no, I'm going to explode this thing. I planted a seed, now it's time to let this thing grow and explode. So I planted myself as a center of influence in networking because I do it every day. I do it day to day. I know what I'm talking about, and I get results, and I help people make money from it. So make connections with center of influences. Does anybody here have a connection in their business that they would like to make, but you don't know how to make it? Yeah? I would tell you, go find the 5 or 10 people that you need to meet and go research them. Find out who they are. Find out their likes, what their businesses are. I would even go as far as find their sports teams and drop a gift off to their office, house, wherever, and don't ask for anything. Find out how much of a difference that makes. Because guess what you're going to get? You're going to get their attention. And you might just be looking just to get on their radar. That's what are called, what do they call them on they're influencers on social media, right? You pay someone $50, they'll post you. Make a real influence and plant those seeds. Network with a purpose, network on purpose with a vision. I have taken this thing, I'm in alignment with my assignment. Kind of took a little bit off of what Nate was saying. Is that alignment? I'm in alignment with my assignment. Why? Because what are my assignments? My assignment is to serve people. My vision is to build a business that we become so financially independent that we can continue to pour in our community and we can get our foot off the rat race. That is the vision of where we're heading to. It's not just about making a little bit of money now. It's how do we make the longevity money? How do we make that reorder money that every month is coming in, month out? That's what you want to do. You don't want to focus on making one sale. Make one sale that's going to keep on serving the community month in, month out. Another R word, instead of relationships, recession, is referrals. Master getting referrals. Referrals is one of the greatest keys of my own business. If I call somebody up and I say, hey, listen, I need your help. I always ask for help. Because guess what? Vulnerability is a superpower in business. Most people have an ego and a pride to say, I don't want to ask for help. What are they going to think of me? What if you asking for that one referral puts you into a room that led you to your next big deal? That'd be pretty worth picking up a phone call, right? So if you can, raise your hand if I've ever pitched you my financial services business. 5 people in this room. I haven't even, no. 6 people in this room. 7. In a room of 20 people, 7 people in this room. The other individuals, I just haven't got to you yet. I haven't talked to you about it yet. Or I have no intention of pitching it to you at all because you know what I do. You're very familiar with what I do. And if you want my services, you know where I'm at. Why? Because you'll find the individuals that they've already been down that path. They already know they already know what you're about. And when they're ready for your services, if they want to be represented by you, they'll come to you. And that leads me into the last point about this, is loyalty. How many people are you in business with that are not loyal to you? Or are you loyal to? I can't tell you that in my business, the insurance and investment world, you get a client, and guess what 6 months they do? They go somewhere else, right? I don't look at that person any different. I just said, okay, congratulations. If there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. Because what happens down the road? They might come back. They do, they don't. Makes no difference to me financially. I'm going to just keep making the next one. But if I do the right thing by that person, they might never come back, but at least leaving the conversation, they'll say, hey, you know what? I have this, but Miguel did this. Miguel will help you in that area. It's because you don't care what the person going into a conversation says about you. It's what are they saying once you leave the conversation? Are people talking about you in other rooms when you're not there? And that's the mentality of networking, because you're one person away from you're one introduction away from changing the perspective of your business, where you're going. If you don't talk to that person today, nothing's going to change in your life. But what if you talk to someone today, you get coffee with them, and you just talk to each other here and there, but with intentions? What if they say, hey, listen, I found a deal for you. Here you go. How do you follow up with the person that gave you the referral, though? Make sure you do that. Make sure you reciprocate in business. If someone supports your events, guess what you do? You support their events. In our world today, we have so much takers. I always start our events off with, come in here, put your pride and your ego to the side. Don't talk about your business for 45 minutes. Just ask people about what they do. Ask how you can help them. And then the last thing I'll tell you this is invest in your coaching programs. Find a person, one mentor, that they're going to tell you everything you need to hear, even though you don't want to hear it, and be coachable and take that thing to the fullest. We live in a world of Instagram and YouTube where everyone wants to give you an opinion. You will know somebody by their fruits. If someone doesn't have fruit, don't listen to them. If someone doesn't have the right intentions, don't listen to them. Vet people out. But as we're taking our life to the next level, I want to bring up Nate Scott. Like I said, I mentioned Nate Scott earlier, that our conversation came into place here. Nate has been a big person in my life, even though we don't talk on a daily basis. We don't have to. We'll check in with each other. Hey, how are you? This is this. This is this. Nate has taught me abilities in business. You know what? He planted the seed. I wasn't ready to implement it, but eventually I got ready to do it, and yes, I do it now. Nate has got accolades for days, and I'm not going to. I'm going to allow him to share those accolades with you. But Nate is an absolute stud. Made a lot of money in business. Has an amazing wife, Andrew, over there, over to the back over there. And you know, if you're a stud, you got to go recruit a stud if you're going to marry a stud, right? And when I say stud, that's a word we use.